Earlier this year, Hunter Biden was convicted on federal gun charges for providing false information about his addiction to crack cocaine when purchasing a firearm. Additionally, he pleaded guilty to tax offenses for failing to pay at least $1.4 million in federal taxes, which he has since paid back. Sentencing in both cases was initially set for later this month. President Joe Biden had previously stated he would not pardon his son. However, on Sunday, he reversed that stance, describing the prosecution as unfair and politically motivated. Biden said the charges in his case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Biden accused congressional opponents of pressuring the investigation and derailing Hunter's plea deal. In his announcement, President Biden asserted, "No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion that Hunter was singled out only because he is my son." Indeed, Hunter Biden was treated much more harshly than anyone else committing similar crimes. The disgraced former President Donald Trump criticized the pardon, calling it an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Biden's pardon follows a history of presidents using their clemency powers for family members or close allies. For instance, President Bill Clinton pardoned his half-brother, Roger Clinton, who had faced drug charges. During his presidency, Trump issued 144 pardons, benefiting a mix of distant relatives and key allies convicted of crimes such as financial fraud and witness tampering. Notable recipients of Trump's pardons include Charles Kushner, father of Jared Kushner, now tipped to be Trump's ambassador to France, Steve Bannon, former White House chief strategist, and Paul Manafort, Trump's former campaign chairman. Bannon, in particular, was accused of defrauding donors in the We Build the Wall crowdfunding campaign, where prosecutors alleged funds were misappropriated. Trump pardoned Bannon in 2021 while he awaited trial on federal fraud charges, though Bannon still faces state-level charges for his involvement in the scheme. And when Donald Trump returns to office, expect future pardons, including for individuals involved in the January 6th Capitol riot, and former White House advisor Peter Navarro, who recently served a 4-month sentence for contempt of Congress. Trump said on Saturday he intends to nominate Charles Kushner, father of Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, to serve as ambassador to France, a man he pardoned on multiple convictions, including illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, and witness tampering after hiring a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, arranging to record a sexual encounter between the two and sending the tape to his sister. Trump made the announcement in a Truth Social post, calling Charles Kushner a tremendous business leader, philanthropist, and deal maker. And in the next breath, he's complaining about Hunter Biden. The hypocrisy here is threefold. Firstly, Republicans, Fox News pundits, and all these windbags, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, are accusing Joe Biden of lying.
We knew this was going to happen, but we just couldn't believe the audacious way it did happen. Number one, I think it took almost zero courage. You do it on a Sunday and then go to Angola and then take your press secretary with you. So no press conferences, just let the chips fall where they may. Pardoning your son, to me, is not shocking. Roger Clinton getting pardoned by Bill Clinton, not shocking. But never admitting that you were going to do it, saying definitively you wouldn't do it, and then going ahead and doing it, and then the letter that followed to explain what went into it is just full of holes and inconsistencies that I think leave him wide open and leave his party susceptible to further damage.
In that letter, he said, quote, "I have followed a simple principle, just tell the American people the truth. No, you lied to us so many times, but about this specifically."
The irony here is that Trump, according to the Washington Post, lied 30,573 times over his 4 years in office. They counted, and he hasn't stopped lying since. How dare they accuse Biden of being a liar? Biden is entitled to change his mind, considering that Trump has now won the election and wants to install a QAnon-adjacent conspiracy theorist to lead the FBI. and a Trump loyalist and his former personal lawyer to lead the Department of Justice. Is it any wonder Biden doesn't want to leave his son in the hands of these corrupt individuals, let alone the wrath of the Republicans in Congress? Hasn't he been through enough? Of course, the other reason they're going nuts about this is because of Hunter Biden's laptop, the conspiracist's mascot. Anything connected to Hunter or his laptop is fair game, which, considering Hunter has never served in the administration, is a private citizen, and has never spoken publicly until recently, is an unfair game. Maybe his silence was the reason they chose to fill in the blanks with their hate speech and conspiracies. Remember, Trump's pardons consisted of several criminals who served on his campaign staff or in an official capacity, not to mention his plan to pardon January 6 rioters convicted of insurrection, criminal damage, and attacking police officers. Maybe he felt a little bit guilty, since he incited them in the first place. Unlikely, as Trump doesn't feel anything. His heart is cold. And it's heart that really is at the center of this decision by President Joe Biden. It is the humanity of this story. Hunter Biden's pardon was inevitable. I was hoping that Biden would do it. I was looking forward to the outrage. I was fully expecting it. And honestly, it has little value right now. Trump is nominating a bunch of hardened criminals into his cabinet. He's sidestepping FBI clearances and is aligned with America's enemies. But sure, Hunter Biden's pardon is a matter of national importance. Yet again, the corporate media is failing us, and the propaganda is in overdrive. We deserve better. Finally, I want to talk about what I see as the most essential part of this story, and that is addiction. Not a single media platform has bothered to tie this issue to Hunter Biden's years of drug and alcohol addiction, a disease which was exacerbated by the loss of his mother, sister, and brother. Remember, jurors found him guilty of falsely claiming that he was not a drug user on an application for a gun. With a little empathy, think about how he must have been feeling in that moment. Hunter Biden, father of 5, noted that he's admitted and taken responsibility for his mistakes during the darkest days of his addiction. Mistakes that have been exploited to publicly humiliate and shame me and my family for political support, he said. Acknowledging the chance he'd been given, Hunter continued, "In the throes of addiction, I squandered many opportunities and advantages. In recovery, we can be given the opportunity to make amends where possible and rebuild our lives if we never take for granted the mercy that we have been afforded. I will never take the clemency I have been given today for granted, and will devote the life I have rebuilt to helping those who are sick and suffering." In his eulogy for his brother, Hunter Biden recalled his first memory of Beau Biden, waking up in the hospital next to him in 1972, after the car wreck that killed their mum and sister. Referencing his son's struggles with addiction, Joe Biden said, "No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion that Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me, and there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Leave the Bidens alone. They are a family that has been through hell, and all along Joe Biden has been driven by the love he has for his family and imperfect son, the same love that I feel for my son, and I'd do anything for my boy. If you are a parent, you'll understand." Hunter Biden has been sober and clean for 5.5 years. He should be celebrated, supported, and yes, pardoned. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.